Hey everybody, good morning. I pulled a card from a deck that I never use because I actually don't really know how to use it very well. But it's the Lenormand deck, and this one's by actually the Gilded Reverie Lenormand by Ciro Marchetti. And I just thought I wasn't going to pull it, but then I decided to. And the card that came up was this tulip card. And, before I was in my meditations, before I decided to do the reading, I was thinking about, and actually this has been kind of an ongoing thought since last night, was about, actually I should go live on Instagram as well. There we go. So, the card that came up was this flower card, and it's the number 9 card. And I like this one a lot because, number one, I love tulips. They're my favorite flower. And at first I thought they were roses, which are actually behind me up there. But the overall theme of abundance is, and being receptive and being open to receiving whatever. And that's one of the messages of this card as I read through the book. Because like I said, I don't really know how to work with these cards super well. And I'm just kind of learning them. But the thing about this card is that, it's about being open, about being receiving, about letting what happens. Like if you got flower, think about the act of someone receiving, getting flowers or giving some flowers to somebody. And, no matter what, when we get something, it's about being in that place of receptivity, about being willing to accept gifts no matter where they come from. And no matter how they arrive. And so jokingly, it says something like, if there's some other cards around it, it may indicate that you're going to the hospital or something like that. But, but don't worry about it because at least you're getting flowers. So anyway, that was a card that came up. And then when I pulled open the bottom and then I flipped over the bottom of the deck, we had this man holding a rose, which is kind of interesting. He's got a flower as well. So, there are gifts coming in. And he was looking to the left of him. So to me, that indicates that we are getting something. And the color of these tulips is actually pink, which is a color of passion, a color of love, and just being open. And the color that, and this man is kind of considering. He's in a very considering sort of waiting kind of mood. And he's got this beautiful, red rose. So he is coming with a rose and then the flower. So abundance is coming in. And I think that no matter how it arrives, number one, the message is to appreciate what we have. And whatever is coming in, whatever that package, however that is packaged, it's for our good. The number for today's date is actually a number 5 as well. If you add up 4 plus 16 plus 2019, the number comes to a 23, which means that we're working with the Ascended Masters, and to keep positive, because when you break the 23 down, that actually comes to a 5, which is a number of change and significant transformation. So oftentimes that can be a really scary place. But if we do continue to look into our own internal wisdom and we speak to our higher power, whatever that makes sense, however that makes sense to you, you're going to be able to work through that transformation no matter how it is packaged. All right. So let's do the cards. I'll probably pull one from the fairy oracles because, let's go ahead and pull one because it's an unexpected day. Unexpected changes can come in, and fairies are always very unexpected energy. You can never sort of predict what's up with them. Fairies are of this world. So they are, they're kind of between worlds. So just like anything else, anything can happen when you've got one foot here and you've got one foot in the spiritual realm. They can be tricksters. And with the number 5 energy, we'll see what happens. We'll see what they have to say for us today. They're actually giving us 2 cards today. So we have Green Man's Door, Portals to Fairy, Wheel of the Year, Galactic and Gaian Entry Points. So again, this is actually bringing in an energy of change. And that's the number 40. And then we have Stolen in Her Sleep. So that's another card that came up, Stolen in Her Sleep, unaware, unconscious, unawakened. So I'm not as familiar with these. So I'd like to read a little bit from, so this indicates in this circle that we are going through an entryway here. There is an entry portal that we're going through. Portals to Fairy Wheel of the Year. So that's kind of like the Wheel of Fortune card would be in the traditional tarot, but these are oracle cards. So the Green Man's door, about to pass through a potential doorway of time. Thus, you will soon have access to other dimensions and realities, including that of the fairy. It's time to consider becoming a walker between the worlds, to draw back the veil and depart the mists. To do so will bring healing, change, and powerful magics into your current reality. Ask the Green Man and the Fairy Maiden for permission to enter and make an offering. Then prepare for deep, beautiful, and abiding change. Please see the front section of the guidebook for earthly dates of the doorways. I do know that we are in a portal right now, and we are approaching a very important double full moon in the sign of Libra, which indicates a lot of change in relationships. We had one at the solstice, the spring equinox, back in March on the 21st, and that was at the 1st degree of Libra. And now we're having one at the final degree of Libra, and plus there's a lot of other aspects happening to that moon. So we've had this whole time to really examine our relationships. So you might be feeling some partnerships, any kind of communication that you're having right now. Let's see, what are those dates? At any rate, I'm going to leave it at that. I don't feel like I actually need to look up any further. But make an offering and she will open. So definitely, again, work with your divine, work with whatever is divine for you. And stolen in her sleep, that's the number 15 card. Oh, it popped right up. Unaware, unconscious, unawakened. Unable to remember dreams, feeling cut off from psychic abilities, unsure of whether the path you are drawn to follow is safe. So feeling scared that you may be entering a dark realm, wishing to go home. So if this card has come to you, it is time to go deep within, to go into the earth and to understand that material transformation is spiritual. So this is all definitely making a lot of sense, that we have abundance coming in. It's about whether we're able to receive it. And this is a day of transformation. This is a time of transformation. I'm sure you saw the Cathedral of Notre Dame burning yesterday, and probably felt the weight of the significance that we are in a definite time of change here. But we've got to wake up. We need to wake up. We can't just go into this unconsciously. We need to wake up. We need to definitely look within and be willing to receive whatever is coming. Be willing, because the universe always has your back, right? The cards are stacked in your favor. It's not imagination. All right, let's go ahead and pull from the Shadowscapes Tarot deck. I worked with the Archangel cards yesterday, and I hadn't worked with them in a while. I'm going to work with them tomorrow, but we'll just go ahead and work with these today because these are the ones that I pulled up. So I'm going to go ahead and bring the camera down here and angle the camera down here so y'all can see the cards. You know what? Let me just move this down completely. That seems like it makes more sense. That makes a lot more sense. Yeah, I like the way that looks. All right, awesome. So let's go ahead and pull the cards for today from the Shadowscapes Tarot. Again, the Lenormand deck is Chiara Marchetti, and the Wild Wisdom of the Fairy Oracle were the other two that I pulled, and that's from Selena Fenich, I know, is the artist on that, and Lucy Cavendish is the one who does the context for the cards. And on the Shadowscape, it's Stephanie Puy-Law and Barbara Moore. So cards and angels, archangels, only powers of positivity. We are in a very interesting little flux. And yesterday I felt the need, and I also heard it in a reader who I like to follow, that she felt like there was a lot of interesting energy that wanted to come through that wasn't of divine light. And I felt that in my meditation. So it was really interesting that resonated with her. And she's in Australia. She's on the other side of the world. But that we do have some interesting energies coming out. We've got one card popping out. That's the Seven of Cups. And the Seven of Cups is coming out. So this is a decision. Again, this is that point of like making decisions, choosing to see, again, what is abundance, being in abundance. A lot of pretty blue and purple in that card. So to me, that definitely speaks of listening, not just speaking to the angels. And the purple that they stand on is very purple, and that's definitely listening to divine guidance. It's being called to my attention. We have a lot of pink and hearts. Listen to our heart. Those came up in the Lenormand deck. Let me put these beads to the side. Oh, we have another. Oh, two cards came out. Two cards came out. We have the Nine of Swords. So again, there's that worry energy that can come in when we are in this time of transformation. And then the Seven of Pentacles is another card that has been coming up consistently lately. And then we have one more card sticking up, and that's the Three of Pentacles. So I'll leave it at that. And then we have the Page of Cups at the bottom of the deck with the Three of Cups underneath, the Queen of Swords, and the Six of Wands. Another theme that came up in my meditations this morning was that of the need to sort of dry out. This came up yesterday for me as well as today. And we've gone through a lot of emotional, we're coming out of a lot of Piscean energy, a lot of watery energy, a lot of mutable energy. And I think we're kind of wanting to take that step back to be in that place of consideration, even if it is kind of Nine of Swords energy. Normally when the Nine of Swords comes up, this is worry energy. So I almost feel today that it's not even so much that we're in this sort of swirl of intense thoughts. It is more of this like desire to work forward in a way that is more logical and less emotion based. That's just the message I'm getting from this. We're in a place of decision. Today is a transformation day of 5 where anything can kind of happen. And we might be feeling that a little after, yesterday's events and such an iconic structure, dissolving basically right in front of our eyes. And those things are happening, and that can make us feel unstable. And these guys are a little bit unstable, aren't they? Right? She's looking up, he's looking down. They're definitely on a precipice of sorts. But we have opportunity, and we are supported. As I said, one of the reasons I love this Three of Pentacles card in this particular deck is, I don't know if you can see it, but she's being held by, this unseen force. He doesn't have a face. He's not showing his face, right? He's looking away. He has this very interesting salamander type creature on his shoulder. Actually, he's holding that. He's holding her and he's holding that. He's multitasking. But he's got her, as she describes, some very beautiful artwork. So this is almost like, this is kind of, was it yesterday that it came out? Maybe not. But we have this phoenix rising from an ashes. So, you have this thing where the work that she's describing, just like, in the church yesterday, that church is made of stone. So the work that she's describing is in stone. This is something that's lasting. She's really good at her work too. Like, look at her, look at the beautiful work. It's not just, each and every one of them is not even the same. She's not just churning out, this sort of like, I'm trying to think of what the like conveyor belt. I don't know why I can't think of it right now. Just this mass production kind of thing. Like she's doing like beautiful, beautiful work, and she's doing it almost sort of like without a care. She looks very serene. She looks very serene. So we do have some decisions that we're making today. And these nautilus shells that are at their feet, I don't know if you can see those, are again an indicator that, we have to move on. We have to move into the next chamber in order to grow. We cannot stay behind. So no matter what the decision is the choice to go backwards is not available anymore. That choice is just not there. We have to move. We have to strategize here and make a plan. And he's also got this, I'm noticing in his map, he has very similar artwork to what she's describing here. So we actually know the way to go. We know the way to go. We actually hold the map within. We just need to take a moment to look at it, to get out of this worry energy. But this, I don't really read the Nine of Swords today as a way that's saying that we're in, we're spending our energy in a way that normally this would be definitely a super anxious card. And I just don't feel that today. I feel that this is something that we're just really desiring to use our brains. And I think this is a reflective. Mercury is coming finally out of shadow, out of all of this water energy, out of all of this like kind of emotional mire. I think a lot of us have felt like we're in. And I'm a Pisces. I've got 5 placements in Pisces, and I'm a little worn out. I want to get on some dry land too. And that's, we see these people on, even though it's precarious, it's dry land. And that's another thing I'm really noticing is that, these other cards are also, these are cards of earth, and we're getting ready to move into some earth energy as well. And we have learned a lot. We are very creative, and we have some beautiful fruits that we're really interested in picking. And today is that day of transformation. So, feel held. This card came up a little bit unexpectedly, this Three of Pentacles. But remember, she's being held. She knows what she's doing. She's making beautiful work. It is not something that is, mass produced. She's got some serious skills, and she's describing things that are for the longevity. So be considerate. Be considerate about how you're planting your seeds today. And know that you cannot go back. You cannot go back. These nautiluses here at their feet are at their feet, and they need to move into their next chamber, whether it's up towards that castle in the clouds, which is an indicator to me. And like I said, this is a card. There's a lot of blue in this card, which is communication. And it is not just talking, it is actually listening to your guides. And that's the number of the Ascended Masters, which is part of today's date. Today's date is a 23. And that is listening to your Ascended Masters, work with them, listen in as much as you're asking. Because if we're sitting there asking too much, we are in worry energy. But I think this is just the real desire to apply our mental capacities. And the Page of Cups is here to allow us to contemplate. And I think this actually, this is coming up to me as a way of appreciating the things that we do have. Like she's sitting there in a very contemplative way. She's taken her at the end of the day, she's taking this bowl down to draw in and appreciate what it is that she does have. And I'm led to feel that way because we've got the Three of Cups, which is a celebratory cup, a cup of celebration. That echoes this Three of Pentacles as well. That's another Ascended Masters card. And then, of course, we have the Queen of Swords, the Six of Wands. These are all a really good victory, like being on top of it cards, being on top of our game. And those are things that are all coming up underneath. And like I said, he's got the very same inscription in his map that she is describing on her walls. So we know where to go. Our seeds are well planted. We have to trust. We have to have faith. Keep that positive mindset, which although, like I said, I'm not really feeling a negative mindset come up in the Nine of Swords today. I feel that that's more of us wanting to use our, definitely apply and harness and move those many, many thoughts that we do have into a productive vein. So we have, in terms of the numerology of the cards themselves, and again, so let's go back to these cards. We've got we have these two cards that came up from the Lenormand deck, which again is being in that place of abundance and being willing to accept whatever comes in whatever package, because it's going to be beautiful, even if it doesn't feel that way on a day of change. Green Man's Door is the fairy card that came up along with Stolen in Her Sleep. So Green Man's Door is a card that, is circular, and it's asking permission to walk through, but doing so in a very conscious way. There's a lot of conscious cards here. We have a card of contemplation in the Seven of Cups. We've got that card of contemplation coming up in the Page of Cups. And even she's being contemplative in terms of like what she is going to pick. And he's being contemplative in terms of, how he's going to place his thoughts. Your thoughts may be a little bit scattered today. Harness, try to get focused. And the best way to do that is to maybe stop, be in that quiet space, focus on, even if it's a dust mote in front of you, the way the sun comes through the light comes through your windows. But we have, so in terms of the numerology day, with 7 and 9 is 16, plus another 7. So actually, it's really interesting. We've got this 9 is flanked by 2 7s. So we have 7 and 9 is 16. 7 is a number of mind and creativity. It's how to apply our thoughts creatively. 7 and 9 is 16, plus another 7 is 23. So again, we're coming up with that number 23, which is the numerology for today's date. We throw in another 3, so that breaks down to a 5, which is an opportunity for change. Don't be afraid of the change, embrace it, but apply your thoughts to really move with it in a conscious direction. That number 3 is coming up. That's a number of ascended masters. Again, there's that number to come up and request us to come in and really tap into our wiser self. If we add that to the 23, that gives us a 26, and that brings us to an 8. So it's an interesting progression from those 2 7s that we see flanking the 9 of Swords. The 7 of Cups, 9 of Swords, 7 of Pentacles. We have that number 3, and then that brings us to a 2 and a 6, a 26, which is the number 8. And the number 8 is, again, that progression. And I didn't bring it up, but we do have an 8 of Cups actually down here and under the bottom of the deck. It caught my eye, but I didn't really, it's now really calling to me clearly. So again, we're moving on. We are definitely moving on in that number 5 energy when we use our thoughts creatively, when we get innovative, when we are contemplative, but not to the point where we're hanging out in just worry energy. Harness the thoughts, which may be difficult today. And be grateful because however that package comes in, it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be beautiful, and it will yield great results. We know how to do stuff. That's the 3 of Pentacles. This is beautiful mastery. All right, that'll be it. If you have any questions or comments, for those of you on Instagram, you can DM me. For those of you joining me on YouTube, you can certainly send me a question or a comment. All right, thank you so much. Have a great day.